Welcome back to the Help Me Rhonda show. In fact, this is season 3. Hopefully everyone likes the new set. So with this season, I am interviewing deep characters, those that have gone from, well, I guess you could say A to Z, but more importantly, those that have gone from a space that they really didn't love themselves into a space where they now can really see and look back and reflect and realize who they've become or where they've come from is the exact journey that they were supposed to be today, or what they were supposed to go through to be today. And so today, my guest is actually going to be kind of shocking, because he went from being a drug dealer to being a spiritual hustler. Now, if that isn't someone that looks back and says, wow, who was I then to where I am today, but have learned the lessons along the way, I don't know who else can represent that archetype. So without further ado, I have today Aren Bahia, who is not only the podcast host of the Spiritual Hustler podcast, but you also are one of the founding members of the Yogi Lab, and you have the Spiritual Hustlers Club now with your Yogi Lab crew. So Aren, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Always a pleasure. Thanks for having me in your beautiful home and office and headquarters.
Yeah, we're in the headquarters today. It's super cool because we're on like season 3. So like there's always a new theme, right? It was before like I interview sexy brands and blah, blah, blah. Now I'm like really interviewing conscious entrepreneurs, but those that have like done some deep stuff, right? That have like gone from a space into a place, right? And have learned from that journey. I think you're just such a perfect example of that. I mean, to say drug dealer to spiritual hustler, yeah. I'm like, how far was that journey?
Oh, wow. That's a big journey. It's a big journey. It took a lot of healing and a lot of self-work.
Yeah,
and going from being a drug-addicted drug dealer.
Is that right?
I was a huge addict.
So you got high on your own supply.
Yeah, that's a rule that I should have followed. Absolutely should have followed that.
Rule number 1, that's the lesson of today.
Good rule. It's a great rule. But I'm really happy I didn't follow it, because I love my life now. And if I was a better drug dealer, I'd still be in it. And I probably would have ended up dead or in jail at this point. And to be out here in Bali, you know, launching multiple businesses, like 5 businesses in 5 years, and to be able to be a happy, conscious, healthy entrepreneur living in paradise, that is the dream for me. And I never thought that dream was possible, you know, back in the dope game. And you know, to go through that huge journey is, you just look back at it now and you're like, wow, I'm happy I was a bad drug dealer. Well, I was good, but I mean, like, actually.
Yeah. But the fact that you're even here right now, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So was there a breaking point? Because I know everyone, like, there was a moment, right, that says, I gotta change.
Yeah, there was many of those, actually.
Were there?
I was doing way too many drugs. Too many people around me were having violent things happening to them. And I was just like, I'm not about this life. And I just remember going down to Mexico and meeting the Sinaloa cartel. And I was at this,
whoa.
Yeah, it was crazy. So I got to this level where I was like, okay, I'm gonna start being an international crime guy. Oh, great, yeah, okay. My friends are doing this international level of shipping. Okay, this is what the dream was for me at that stage of consciousness. Yeah. And it was like, okay, great. I had a connection at the Toronto airport. I was from Vancouver, but a connection in the Toronto airport, and he was going to be able to get kilos through. I was like, perfect. I got the link there. And all of us had different links, and we went and met down the cartel. We were at this mansion that Mike Tyson and Michael Jordan would rent when they were in Cabo. So it was like baller mansion.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy, crazy weird. And so I'm with this like family from the Sinaloa cartel. And it came almost time for this big meeting. And we talk about, you know, lay our cards on the table. What connections you have, how we're gonna get things through, logistics. And I go to the bathroom and I get a message on my encrypted phone and it says, hey, airport connection got fired. We don't have that link anymore. I'm like, yo, I'm at the meeting.
I'm not even the guy now. I have nothing.
I'm at this meeting to present this information, and now I'm not that guy anymore. I'm like, oh, fuck. This is bad. What's gonna happen? What are they gonna say to me? What, you know, shit, what's gonna happen? Like, am I gonna leave this meeting alive? Like, what's gonna happen to me? So I go back, and I had built a good rapport with these guys for the last couple of days. We were hanging out, you know, doing crazy things. And I'm like, guys, like I showed them the message, like my link just is out. I'm so sorry. And they're like, oh man, that's okay. No worries. Like, but you can take the meeting. You can go hang out in the other room, you know, go
get out.
Go do some cocaine or something. I was like, okay. And it was like that was like, wow, okay, that just happened. I was feeling shitty about it. You know, I felt like a total loser. You know, it was something that was like, man, myself, like my worth in this group, everything, you know, my social standing, everything. I took a big hit. And it was one of the best things that ever happened to me,
Yeah.
because a few months later, all those guys ended up, in jail or dead. The first load they did with that cartel, they lost $500,000. It got confiscated. So it was like, bad things happened. They got caught.
So you were being protected.
I got protected by a higher power.
Yeah.
And that was beautiful. But, after that, things kept going worse, like, more violence around me. And I was doing an intense amount of drugs just to like be okay and operating at this level. I was always a hyper functioning human being doing many, many, many things at once. Wow. But I stayed high to not feel my feelings.
Yeah, not allow the things in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And to deal with that level of stress without feeling it. And so I had to consume tons of opiates.
Wow.
And I was work, going through it. And then I started realizing I couldn't trust anybody. And that was heartbreaking, because like my best friend of 20 years, me and him got into a big altercation where he had a hit out on his head, and he was accruing really bad karma on him, stuff that I wouldn't want to be associated with. And I was trying to help him out, and he was in a bad place, and he ended up not paying me back on a big loan. And that was like, wow, it got to a place where we were threatening each other, and I was like, wow, we're threatening. It's my best friend, and I'm threatening to like do a very violent act to him, and vice versa. This is heartbreaking. And I realized, hey man, this is exactly not what I want to be doing. And I always wanted to be doing good things, and this is getting to the level of really scary things. And actually, my heart is meant to be doing good things outside of that.
How does somebody that's in that level of like fog actually see a light? I mean, do you think that there was some form of a calling or some kind of awareness that came through you that was trying to say, let's go, let's
absolutely
lift?
Yeah, I really do think that there were many things that happened to get me out. And there was many times where I was just like, this doesn't feel right. And my intuition was screaming, and there's only so much numbing you can do until it's going to start knocking that door.
Breaking, and something big starts to happen.
Exactly. And I was going to yoga, and I was doing yoga while I was a drug dealer.
Wow.
Yeah. Before that, I was a kickboxer, and then I got too many concussions, and I wanted to move my body still, and I started doing yoga. And that was funny, because I was like 3 cell phones, rocking up to yoga in a Gucci jacket with my Mercedes parked out front, and then I'd be like downward dog, da da da, and like doing the yoga thing, and then getting back and seeing what all my messages across the country were, and it was a lot. It was a weird place to be, but that was actually my route into there's peace. There is peace that can be found. There is other things that are out there, and I did a plant medicine called iboga, and it was like this African plant root that's kind of like the ayahuasca of Africa, except extremely difficult. It's not shanti shanti, this is the fabric of the universe, see the way, child. No, it's like your stern father telling you how much of a fuck up you are over and over and over again. It's extremely difficult, and it showed me how I created this reality around me. I'm completely responsible for it. It's not the area I grew up in's fault. It's not the friends I grew up with fault. It's not my dad's fault. It is your fault. You are responsible for everything that you've caused, and you have to change it. You have to be the one that's going to stop doing what you're doing. You're the one who's got to make good on this, clear your karma, and do good things. And that was a week-long flood dose of everyday deep medicine.
Whoa.
Oh, it was so...
That's heavy.
It was so...
Were you detoxing at the time? This is a part of this whole
it.
process,
That was
right?
part of the detox process.
Yeah.
It was extremely hard.
So you're confronting yourself. You're seeing your true self show up.
Yeah.
Fears.
Well, the thing with iboga is you sit there, you can't move. If you move, you're gonna throw up. So you're just like bolted to a bed. You cannot move, and your thoughts are looping. You keep thinking and seeing these visions over and over again, and then it's like you're seeing them from different areas, and they're washing with more truth each time. That's what it felt like, and you feel it in your body. So you feel this like kind of washing sensation over you. It's clearing you out and like unraveling learned behaviors and neural pathways and cleaning them. So it was a really interesting process.
Wow.
And on one of the days, after like the day, you do it at nighttime, you take the medicine in the evening, and all night, and in the morning, you're just like, what just happened to me? And you feel like naked.
Yeah.
So I was in a blanket.
You were naked.
Shivering in a blanket. And they're like, you can watch Netflix. And I'm like, huh? Like, okay. It wasn't in like a shamanic place. It was in some apartment. This happened, right? I didn't go to the jungle for this. I was in Vancouver. And these dudes are like, just don't watch anything violent. Like, you can watch happy things, but if you watch anything violent, it'll come into the next journey. It's gonna stick in your memory, and then it'll be looping in that space. So absolutely nothing violent. I'm like, okay. So I watched all the other happy things on Netflix during that week, and there's the last day, and I watched everything. I watched all of Netflix, and I was just like, okay, the last thing on there, I pop it on, and I get taken to this scene, and it's like this place in this movie where it's like incense and ceremony and this magic of this like jungle. And I was like, whatever that is,
I want to stay there. I want to go there.
I need that in my life.
Oh, wow.
And so the next day I was like, I Googled where it was. Okay, Bali.
No way.
I watched Eat, Pray, Love.
Oh,
Eat, Pray, Love changed my life.
no.
I swear to
No
God.
wonder why you're called Ink, Pray, Love.
Yeah, I'm that cheesy.
What a cutie you
So
are.
that's exactly. I saw Eat, Pray, Love, and I was like, I have to go to Bali. I just need to be there. My heart was like,
drew
go
you
there
in. Wow.
now. So I was like, click tickets to Bali. First I was like, where is Bali? I'm like, okay. Like Indonesia. I'm like, where's Indonesia? And I like figured that out. And then I landed there 2 days later, rocked up by myself.
Wow.
To Ubud. And I just had to figure it out. I was like, all right, I'm gonna experience new things, get some time away from that life, and try to figure out what I want to do next. Because I knew I needed out, and I knew I needed a break. And it was like I did a yoga teacher training while I was here because I was like, what else am I gonna do? I got a couple months and so learn yoga. I taught kickboxing before. I probably could teach yoga, so that's probably the same thing, right? Nope. And it was a huge growing point for me because I rocked up with diamond dope dealer earrings and a Louis Vuitton shirt to Yoga Barn, like the most hippie place you could imagine, and was doing a yoga teacher training, and I stuck out like a sore thumb. I was still a drug dealer at the time.
Oh my
gosh. So I was managing nationwide, deals while I was like
taking a break.
In between my breaks at yoga teacher training. I was such a strange character. And it opened my eyes, and that was the start of like, hey, there's more out there. It was a pivotal part of my journey, was seeing just a glimpse that there's this new other world where I could not be the person I was. I could be somebody else. I could choose to be someone that was compassionate and loving and kind and did good things and, stood for things other than what I stood for, which were material things back at home. Yeah. And that was the shift, was the beep, looking into a new world.
Wow. Yeah. Well, that's amazing because, just to even to get to that point. And so then it's like you're away from all the stuff you were doing before. So now here you are, you're in this space. Now you get to choose. Like, did you feel like you were like molding a new life for yourself? Because you were far enough away from having any drama or troubles before. Is that right? Or were you still connected? Like, how did that?
It was still connected. I could still feel it. And it was, I would say this would be as awkward and weird and new as puberty. It was a spiritual puberty.
Yeah, you're like,
what's happening?
You felt so different as well.
I don't know who I am. What's going on with me? Do I wear mala beads? I don't know. And so it was just like a strange time for me. And so I'm in Ubud trying to figure out how to be this conscious dude where I'm still
it's still kind of like gangster.
I'm still a gangster.
It's in your DNA at this
such
point.
a douchebag still. That's I still had my man purse. I still was very much in it. And so I was trying to navigate both these worlds, but seeing that there was more out there.
Yeah. So what opened your eyes completely to let it go?
Well, I didn't pass this yoga teacher training. I think I'm the only person to ever.
You didn't pass.
I think I'm the only person to ever fail yoga teacher training.
How do you fail it?
Little Denise Payne was the teacher. She's incredible. We hated each other that entire teacher training because I was just this douchebag who was barely showing up, who didn't care, who was like, whatever, like, do you know who I am? Type of behavior.
Right, yeah.
And she would take no shit. She was like hardcore yogi. Denise Payne's a boss. And so she looked at me on the day of graduation, and she's about 5'2". She's about a foot shorter than me, and she's looking up at me, and she goes, Aren, I can't pass you for this yoga teacher training. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, I can't put my stamp on your certificate. You really didn't show up. There's days where you just go get drunk on the weekends and go on Tinder dates, and you weren't like, you didn't take this seriously. And I'm like, whatever. Like, so whatever. Like, I don't need this. Like, I'll just, I was trying my best to like shrug it off. Like, this is no big deal to me. But it hurt. It was actually like, it hit my ego. She goes, when are you actually going to show up for something? Like, when are you going to actually care? When are you going to really try for anything? When are you going to care? Because you didn't hear. And you could be so great if you just applied yourself. And I'm like, whatever. I just wanted to shrug that off. I didn't want that to sink in anywhere. I wanted to keep my ego intact, but that landed with me. So I went and sat in the corner, sulking, whatever kind of thing. Everyone else is super happy, mala beads everywhere, everyone's stoked, they're passing yoga teacher training. I'm then flying back to Vancouver. And on the flight, I was so sad because I just realized I'm going back to that world. I got to go back in it. And
it's been in this Bali beauty. And
Bali beauty's over. The bubble's done. And I'm back in the dope game. And I'm like, I need to get out. I just knew I had to get out, but I didn't know how. I didn't see how I'm going to switch into this new life. And when I got back, things were just as crazy, or if not crazier than ever. So the first week in, I was doing a drug deal, and it was with a couple of guys I didn't know that well. and I had to prepare myself that if something went down and they tried to rob me, I have to shoot them. Like I cannot get robbed with this situation. It's too much money. I can't cover these 2 kilos. I can't do it. And I had this big gun with a silencer on it. Now this story's a little bit crazy.
Oh my God.
It's a little bit crazy.
I know, I was like, whoa.
It's a bit raw.
Now, if I hit you guys with the person that went from the deepest to where they are today, I think we were ringing the bell.
Oh God. So I had this big handgun with a silencer on it. And I had to figure out where to hide it. And it was in this apartment that I had, and it wouldn't fit in the drawer. It was too long. It wouldn't fit, I was like maybe underneath the stove and inside the stove. And that was the only place it would really fit. And I sat there trying to like prepare myself mentally, like you are not gonna let yourself get robbed if this happens. And I had a breakdown. I had a panic attack right then and there. And I curled up on the kitchen floor and I started crying. And I was like, is this what your life is right now?
Yeah.
Is this what you're preparing to do? You're gonna shoot guys over cocaine? Really? Like this is what you were just in Ubud green juice, quinoa land. And now you are, you went from cacao ceremonies to a cocaine deal. Like it's a very different setting.
Yeah.
And then Denise Payne and her words were right over me going, when are you gonna show up for something? When are you actually gonna give a shit? And I was like, oh fuck, you're right.
Wow, does she know that today though?
Yeah, absolutely. So then I was like, okay, I'm gonna go back and finish that yoga teacher training. And so the next 6 months were the hardest 6 months of my life. That was a turning point where I knew I needed to get out. And it was like, I need to get back to Bali. I need to start my life over. I need to take a chance on myself and be a good person. I just need to get out of this world. This is not me anymore. And so the next 6 months getting out were the most difficult 6 months of my life. But I had that vision. It was strong enough that I needed to get there. I just knew if I didn't do it now, it was going to be taken away from me. Something bad was going to happen and I could feel it. My intuition was stronger than ever. I could feel that there was something more out there, and that something more out there was telling me, you have to do this now. Alarm bells are ringing off, otherwise you're not gonna make it. And so I listened. And when I got to Bali 6 months later, I rocked up at Yoga Barn, saw Denise Payne. She was in utter disbelief, and I said, I'm gonna finish my yoga teacher training. And she started crying right then and there.
Oh.
She's like, I was hoping you'd come back. I always wish you were gonna come back, and I can't believe you're here. And then we've been best friends, like super close ever since. Yeah.
Amazing.
She got me to finish my 500 hours of yoga teacher training in Bali Kurobakan prison, the maximum security prison here. And I was teaching to the prisoners to finish my 500 hours. So I did go to jail. I did do my time, and I was able to clear my karma from then on.
Wow, that's so powerful. My goodness, like that's so deep. And now you had a complete shift in who you were. You never went back again.
No.
So stayed focused.
I went back to Vancouver because my whole family is there.
How was that then?
It was so different. It was really weird. It was a different space because I did so much work before coming back.
Wow.
And I had been back 3 times in the last 5 years. I think it was 3. And the first time was challenging because it was only a year after. So
the identities are still floating around. They're trying to put the masks back on you.
Exactly. My friends were still in it, and it was just like, it was difficult. And then when I came back the second time, I was more centered in who I was, and I was more grounded in my practice, and I was more just like, I'm this person now, solidified. And that was nice. And then the third time I was able to go back, I was able to play the role of like actually being a leader in my family and helping. And as for my grandfather passing away, I was able to go back and just take care of my family and love them and bring the skills that I've cultivated with all these 5 years of deep work to actually bring back and now help. And that felt really good. That shift was really beautiful.
Wow. So that's really beautiful. And now you've taken this work, which is now leading you into what you're doing currently now as well, right?
Yeah,
this is where Yogi Lab, of course, came before. Did Karma House, the tattoo,
Karma House
come
was
before?
First. So it was Conscious Arts first, and I wanted to do something like I love tattoos. I'm not a tattoo artist, but I'm a connector.
Do you have any spots left?
Just my left armpit.
Oh yeah, left armpit. Are you saving that for like
prime real estate,
a wedding or something? A marriage or a baby's name?
Yeah, that's how I'm gonna propose to a girl when I marry her. Like, would you marry me? Will you marry me?
Then you really mean it.
Oh God!
Wow, that's actually pretty funny. So now you
hilarious concept. Yeah,
that's actually a really good idea.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea at all. But keep that in the idea bank.
Your armpit up.
Yeah.
What a connected relationship.
That's ridiculous. So that is really funny. So Conscious Arts was first, and I was able to do a business. Like it took a year off making money, and I just needed to heal my relationship with money. And then it was I went to a meditation retreat in India, and I had the idea that like I have the tattoo guys already. I got tattoos from these boys. I have the dudes, and I am a community networker. I'm able to cultivate, be a connector. Okay, I can do this business. I can make it happen. And when I was in India at a meditation retreat, my first one ever, I was supposed to be meditating on day 6, and I was like, business idea came through, and it was have a strong enough social impact that you're helping the island and you will be successful. And that was like the download that came through. So I was like, okay, I want to help mentally disabled Balinese children. I hear that mental health here isn't supported, not nearly as well as anywhere else in the world. And we need to actually do something to help these kids. And so when I got back, I had the idea. Within 3 months, I had found the land. I had leased the land for 3 years. It was in downtown Ubud, the little village. And I had opened up shop. And I found a school for mentally disabled Balinese children to fund with part of our proceeds. Within 3 months after that, we were the busiest tattoo shop in Ubud, and I paid back and in 3 months after that, I paid back the full 3 years lease and all of the business setup and everything, and I was cash flow positive. And so it was like this little shop that became like the stepping stone and the starting to then opening up Karma House, then meeting Dave, and then I met Dave just around opening Karma House. We became business partners. I opened up, we produced Yogi Lab together with the rest of the boys, Sasha and Brian. And then from there, coaching, full reset coaching, and now we're going into property development and helping the world with a lot of other issues like with coaching and group coaching and our membership area.
Yeah, wow. Tell us about this membership area, because I think it's really awesome because, obviously you guys are all stellar human beings. You're all peak performers, and your representation that you have certainly online with Yogi Lab and the courses and the classes that you guys do is just, well beyond what anyone's ever really put together. But you're creating something new called the Spiritual Hustlers Club.
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Yeah.
So Yogi Lab is putting out Spiritual Hustlers Club. It's our membership area.
Oh, cool.
And so Yogi Lab, we put out courses, classes. We're about human performance and human optimization, meditation, breath work. It's all the stuff that helped us change our lives.
Yeah,
it worked for me. Like literally, it's the stuff that I wish I learned in school, but I did learn it, and it helped me then become a Bali entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Or at least somebody normal that I could do stuff, going from such a crazy space. These spiritual practices were healing for me.
Wow.
And so it was exactly what I needed.
Yeah,
and these are things
right.
well, we got to teach people this stuff.
And this is like practical things that people can like really take on, because like you guys, I always say like I'm a spiritual realist, right? And I feel like that we're kind of like in the same vibe. That's why we blend so well together. Our frequencies are similar because we've been in that past world.
Yep.
We know what it's like, but we know what we want.
Yep.
But we're also peak performers. We're not like, I just want to sit and like all day. I would go freaking crazy. However, you guys do Vipassana, so we do kind of do that all day.
Totally.
Which gets us into a more clear state.
I don't belong in a cave. I'm not one of those cave yogis.
Not a cave yogi.
I like villas. I want to do cool stuff. I want to hang out with people I love.
And that's okay. I think and that there's a cool balance between nothing against Ubudians, but there's a whole different way of doing it.
Yeah.
And then we've got our Uluwatu crew.
We got
our way of doing it.
To break that down for everybody else, like there's different towns in Bali, and I started off in Ubud. So Ubud is the hippy dippy heart of Ubud, but it's beautiful, cultural, but it can be extremely hippie vibes. And then Canggu can be, all the digital nomads, all the crypto guys are there, and also all the parties.
Partiers.
Whereas Uluwatu is the south, is like this coastal town. Yeah, it's like the mix of those two things. You can have a good time, and also we're tapped in. And that's what I found. I landed because I couldn't go full hippie, and I tried to go full hippie. I had a beard. I thought about changing my name. I wore Aladdin pants. I got the fucking mala beads. I did it. I went from Louis Vuitton, to looking like a pirate or like a super hippie. I went both ways, and I saw I belonged in the middle. I was a hustler, and then I went full spiritual, and I was like, actually, I'm both.
Yeah.
And to be authentic, I have to know where I came from, but also where I want to go, and to know, hey, what's real for me is, I'm a deeply spiritual person, but I'm also a realist. I want to create, I want to generate, I want to connect, I want to help people, I want to do cool shit. I want all these things. And so there's a set of skills that helped me get there. And what was awesome, it helped all the boys get there. Our whole crew, Sash, Brian, Dave, AJ, Mikkel, all of us were that's how we came and became a group, because we're all interested in the same things. And it's like, okay, great. All of us, there's 6 coaches in one platform is what Spiritual Hustlers Club is about. Fitness, high performance, breath work, meditation, relationships, and business launch and branding. And so it was like, I love to help people tell stories. Yeah. And so we're putting that all together. It's like, it's all the skills that you're going to need to, if you want to start over or just excel in life or, launch your business or just be happier. And it's just what we would want to do and what helped us. And our life turned out pretty awesome.
Wow, that's amazing. So how can people find the Spiritual Hustler Club? Is it launched already? Like what's happening?
There's founding members pricing right now before June 25th.
Okay, cool.
And so that you can become a founding member. You get to lock in that price forever as long as we go on. And then after June 25th, it's going to be the full launch. And so that'll be through www.yogilab.com/SHC. We'll put the link in the notes and all that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I love that. All right, cool. So, and now what's next for you? Like, what's happening with Yogi Lab? Of course, we have Spiritual Hustlers Club, Yogi Lab. You're doing a lot of online stuff now that things have shifted quite a bit, right?
Absolutely. Well, we had done the Vipassana, online Vipassana for free for the whole world.
Yeah, that's amazing.
COVID flatlined so many things. It was really difficult, and mental health has been something that's been really challenging for many people, and you're stuck at home. And also a lot of Vipassana centers like the Goenka style and also other Vipassana centers and meditation centers have closed down because of all the social distancing and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And so we thought we could bring the practice to the people at home. Dave is a master meditation teacher. You know, I've studied under a lot of teachers, and it's great that one of my best friends is a master level meditation teacher. It's perfect.
Yeah.
And so he's taught me so much about the practice, and the way that he delivers it is in like a contemporary way, using like stories about his life, contemporary stories we could all know, modern pop culture references, and then practices that are applicable right here, right now, that make us better at the right here, right now. And that was so powerful for me. It was exactly what I needed.
Yeah.
And so we've had over 110,000 signups so far. You know, a lot of people are able to start and do this practice from their home and learn how to meditate, and that's completely for free. And that's our offering as a company for the whole world. It's like, hey, we can change the world with meditation. If we get 80 million people to meditate, that'll raise it's scientifically proven to raise the frequency of the planet. So we could change the world here. Just do it for free. Put it out there. And it's like, okay, perfect. We all opted in. Let's make it happen. And so that's like our mission there. And then if you want to bring those skills and be better at business or, you know, all these other things, we got the Spiritual Hustlers Club. People who are dead serious about, okay, they want to take this further. You know, meditation's the building block. That's the foundation. And there's all these other practices that we can put on top to build like a very more successful life or well-rounded life, fulfilling life.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. It's so powerful. And is August, does it still have a really strong day? Is it August 12th?
We're gonna do August 8th.
August 8th.
So it's going to be Spiritual Hustlers Day.
Spiritual Hustlers Day.
The meditation movement.
Even cooler.
Yeah, absolutely. We were going to be doing the Maharishi Day. We're going to get in trouble from the Maharishi movement. And so it's really funny because I love this. I haven't talked about this.
So this is, this is, I know, I was like, I got to
we got to go there. This is edgy. This is edgy.
It's so ridiculous.
Yogi Lab was going to be sued by these big meditation guru organizations. And you're like, whoa, we're just spreading meditation. They're like, you can't use the word Maharishi. Vipassana was like, you can't use the word Vipassana. It's like, hey, that's a technique taught by the Buddha. This is not like
it's not yours.
You don't own this. Yeah. You know, it's like this is a technique taught by the Buddha to help, you know, get people out of suffering. And so, okay, we get Maharishi as a person's name. They trademarked it. All right, cool, that's fine. But we're here to help the world. We're here to spread this message to get people to meditate, take them out of suffering. We're doing it for free. And they're like, And we're like, dang, man, is that like the dark side of meditation?
Yeah.
What's going on here?
What fear do you guys have, right?
Yeah. So we thought that was super interesting. Yeah. We send them love, all the meditators and all the organizations. Exactly. We're sending you metta back.
Yeah.
But we're here to help, and we're here to do it for free, and we're here to help to bring that to the planet. And that's our mission, and we believe in it. So if we got to change it to Spiritual Hustlers Day or Maharishi movement, a meditation movement, whatever it is, the practice and what we're putting in our hearts into it, and the purity of the mission is going to shine. People are going to see that. So whatever name it has, it doesn't matter. The packaging, you know, behind that is gold.
Wow. Okay. So August 8th, 8/8/21 is going to be Spiritual Hustlers Day. And it's all about raising the frequency of this planet. 80 million people are going to be meditating on that day.
That's what we're shooting for. Absolutely.
I mean, that's amazing.
We're going to keep going until we get 80 million people.
That's incredible. Yeah. I definitely know that I want to be part of that and help push and promote that. Thank you. Aren, I have a question for you before we go, though, is like, knowing what you know now, what message would you give to the little Aren back in the day before he became a pusher? Like, what would you tell him when he was even in that moment of decision making or?
Yeah, it's a good question because, like, if I told myself big different things, I don't think I'd be in Bali. Like, if I told myself, you know, other things like that. So I think it'd be hard because I wouldn't want to alter me being here.
What about it? What advice would you give him then?
What advice I'd give him is to develop your mind. Really, like, because you don't think about that, you know, when you're 15, 16, 17, you don't think about the quality of your mind.
And the emotional intelligence.
The emotional intelligence, you know, that's super important. And that's what made me able to be a more successful human being was when I started developing my intellect, my mindset, you know, the purity of my mind and how sharp I can be. You know, before that, I'd be doing everything I could to make it foggier, like the amount of pot I used to smoke. And so it'd be like, take care of your mind and meditate and practice mindfulness. And that is a superpower that's available to all of us, because if you take care of the quality of your mind, it shapes your perceptions, it shapes the way you see the world. That is the world around you. It's how you see it. It's all based on your perceptions. And if you're able to actually think more fluidly, and you can then make a humongous difference in everything. Just being more present shifts the way right here, right now looks. Just listening to this podcast more presently shapes the way that you perceive me. And that's like a huge difference, that people can actually drop into a more mindful state. And I didn't know that then. And that's something I'd be the little nugget that I'd give myself at that age.
Yeah, I mean, that could shift a whole reality for someone that's listening to that. And I love, that's one of my favorite questions. Like, what would you have given yourself when you were so young? And, you know, like I always think, I'm like, gosh, you know, don't take things so seriously and don't worry about what other people think. Just keep shining, right? Keep being yourself.
Yeah. I tell myself to stop taking myself so seriously.
Yeah, right?
So, yeah. Anytime I get pissed off, you know, it's like, are you taking yourself too seriously?
It's like,
yeah, and that's a really great question. Denise Payne taught me that. Are you taking yourself too seriously? And quit looking for reasons to be offended.
Yeah,
like,
that's it.
That's good advice. And it helps me now if I get upset about something. I ask myself, how seriously am I taking myself right now?
Yeah.
And when you that's a good ego check. You're like, wait a minute, pretty damn seriously. I don't need to be upset about this.
What is this? What's the big deal? You know? It's such a big thing, and we're always learning. You know, every single day. That's what I love. Just, you know, seeing you in the Astana, like you're always just so vibrant. I just love the connection. I mean, you always know when they always say your vibe, you find your tribe. Like you just know that's where the vibe's at, right? These are the right people. You just know. Sometimes they go to other spots. I'm like, whoa, I'm a bit too much for them. You know, it's like, hey, I can freaking shanti all day long, but I'm still going to be myself, you know? And I just love that about you. And so where can everyone find you? What's the most important place that they can go to and find you to meet you?
As memorable as Ink, Pray, Love, just like Eat, Pray,
so
Love.
Good. Such a good
now
story.
It makes sense when I tell that story. Like,
so
shout out to Julia Roberts. Right? Yeah.
Wow.
Ink, Pray, Love on Instagram and www.arenbahia.com. And through my bio on Instagram, you can follow Yogi Lab, _yogi_lab. And that is where we're doing all these amazing things to help the planet, and join Spiritual Hustlers Club.
Yeah, amazing. We'll make sure all the notes are there.
Perfect.
Thank you, Aren.
Thank you.
Love you so much, brother. It's so amazing to have you. So imagine being in a space in your life when you are pushed against the wall and you are literally in a life and death moment. Imagine being in that place and then making a shift in your life. But you don't have to be in that space. You can be right now saying, am I serving at my highest good? Am I giving from myself the deepest level of impact that I could leave? And if you're answering no, then you can make a shift. If Aren could make a shift from being a dealer to being a spiritual hustler, I think all of us can make a shift in who we are right now, just to leave a bigger impact on the world and make the world better with our presence. So I hope today inspired you so much to take a look in the mirror and ask yourself those questions, and to truly be unstoppable, leave a bigger impact, and to always, always know that you are worth it. Look forward to seeing you guys all on the next show. Have a good one and be unstoppable. See you later, everyone.